Hey, everybody. On today's show, we're talking the craziness that is the NFL, and some NFL coaches have a health scare. And let me ask you, could you eat 100 chicken McNuggets in a 24-hour period? Well, we're going to have all that plus more on That's What She Said Sports. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to That's What She Said Sports. I am your sports chick, Nicole, Monique, and we want to welcome the rest of our sports chicks and sports dudes out there who are watching us on Comcast, Channel 25 in the Atlanta area, and also on YouTube, and also all those listening to us on podbean.com and iTunes. And as you can see, I am flying solo today. My co-dude is, as you all know, we announced it last week, he's on vacation with his lovely wife, so we hope they're having a great time. So it's just me and you, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. Me, you, and my producer, Sed. Hello, Sed. But we're going to make it work. And as always, remember, if you have a question or want to send us a comment or just anything having to do with today's show, remember to use the hashtag #SheSaidSports, okay? Hashtag #SheSaidSports. So let me ask you, how was your weekend? As you can hear, I'm still a little nasally, not too bad. I started out last week sounding really like Wheezy Jefferson. I think now I just kind of have a cool deepness to my voice. Unfortunately, Sed is also going through the same thing. He did not get it from me. Just so you all know, this is called living in Atlanta. The seasons change just per day. So you don't know if it's winter, summer, fall. It's just really nutty out there. But we're hanging in there. And Sed, you're feeling better, right? Good. Yep. He said he is feeling 100% better. So let's just dive in because as you all know, especially if you watched a lot of football like I did over the weekend, and the NFL was nuts. There was a lot of stuff going on. And the only word, honestly, folks, that I could actually think of when I thought about all the craziness that happened over the NFL weekend was inconsistent. I mean, I know, they always say anything can happen on any given Sunday, but seriously, this was truly anything can happen on any given Sunday. So like we always do, we're going to start out with my NFL 5. And my NFL beast was the Jets. And what was interesting about this, as you all know, I've said it before, my husband is a huge Saints fan. So he pretty much thought it was a win-win as far as the Saints. And I did too. I was like, it's the Saints and the Jets. Okay. They also called it the Brother Bowl, which I thought was interesting because you had Rex Ryan, who is the head coach of the Jets. And then you have Rob Ryan, who is the defensive coordinator of the Saints. And I figured this would be the time that Rob would win. Well, as you all know, it did not happen. 6 months after the Saints have traded Chris Ivory to the Jets, Chris Ivory went nuts. Let me see. He got 139 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, he went off. It was like the Saints didn't even see it coming. And what was so funny about that, too, is, again, I think the Saints pretty much stepped off the plane like, we got this. Plus, we're going to be back at the Super Bowl anyway, so we'll just go ahead and beat them and come back. But Rex Ryan was not playing that, so that's why they're my NFL beast. Now, my most impressive team, and I think you all will agree, is the New England Patriots. I mean, they put up 55 points against the Steelers, folks. And I'm loving the fact that BG's not here, but I will have to remind him about this next week. 55 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers. My most improved team, I shudder to even think the thought that I have to say this, but I'm going to go with them Dallas Cowboys. Yes, Sed is laughing at me because he knows I hate to give the Cowboys any sort of credit, but I'm going to do it. I mean, they had an embarrassing loss last week against the Detroit Lions, so, hey, they made a comeback, so I have to give it to them. Now, my buster, let's just run down the list, shall we? We had the Steelers again that they had the most points and yards allowed in franchise history. So 55 points were scored on them, plus 610 yards. I think it's safe to say that steel curtain looks more like a doily at this point. They punched so many holes in that, it was ridiculous. Honestly, I think some of the Steelers who are still alive were rolling over in their soon-to-be graves. That's how bad it was. The Pittsburgh Steelers, come on, folks. And then Atlanta, I don't even know what to say. Where are they? What happened? Did Matt Ryan get his money and run? Did the new people they picked decide we're just going to chill this season? And is Tony Gonzalez mad as hell? Because I would be. You promised me to come back and we were going to the Super Bowl. And now the only way Tony Gonzalez honestly is going to get to the Super Bowl if he goes himself. Let's just face it. Atlanta's done. I don't even know what happened. And then lastly, I got to give a buster to the Seahawks. Now, don't get me wrong. They won. Lovely. But you were down 21-0 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? Remember, the Bucs have not won a game. You were down 21-0 to the Bucs. I just want to point that out, okay? So before everybody starts going, how can you again say the Seahawks? You were losing to the Bucs. Now, my Kool-Aid team, I'm just going to ride with that theme and give it to Carolina. You have to still, if you're not on the Carolina Panthers train, I'm going to say it again, something is wrong with you. Cam Newton is playing some of the best football he has ever played. For the first time, Cam Newton is over 500, the first time in his career. If you are not celebrating Cam Newton, I'm just saying you got some problems. So they crushed Atlanta 34-10. Honestly, they made the Falcons look like baby chicks. Okay, the Falcons, it's just, again, I'm riding on that Carolina Panther train. So that was my NFL 5. So let's talk about some of the highlights, which I brought up. First of all, Nick Foles, Nick Foles from the Philadelphia Eagles, the backup quarterback to Michael Vick, he threw an NFL record 7 touchdowns. Now, keep in mind, before the game even started, Nick Foles had only had 6 touchdowns. He brought 6 touchdowns to that game, folks. Okay, this is week 9, and then this man threw 7 touchdowns. Now, the 7 touchdown passes tied Adrian Burke for the team record, which Burke set in 1954 against the Washington Redskins. And I do want to add that most recently, my favorite quarterback, Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning, just recently in the season opener against the Baltimore Ravens, he too had 7 touchdowns. Riley Cooper caught 3 of the touchdown passes and finished with a career-high 139 yards receiving, and the Eagles had 542 yards of total offense. That is crazy. Now, what is funny to me is everybody is riding high Nick Foles, and don't get me wrong, awesome, congratulations, I'm going to give it to you. But I think we have to remember they played the Oakland Raiders, okay? Kind of let that sink in a little bit. That's like me playing against a 5-year-old at pretty much anything. It's just, it just doesn't make sense. So before we ship them off to the NFL Hall of Fame, let's again remember the Oakland Raiders look like crap. I mean, their defense was pretty much just standing around blindly. They had no idea what was going on. I was like, you'd think by the 3rd time they'd get that Riley Cooper is like wide open. So I do applaud them. Great game. But I want to see Nick Foles do that to, I don't know, the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see him do it to the Patriots. Could he do that against the Broncos? I think not. Again, we talked about the Jets beating the Saints. What's so bad about this is, think about this, 382 yards and 2 touchdowns, and those are Drew Breesy's numbers. And even with those numbers, he still couldn't beat the Jets. But they're still 6-2. I believe there's still hope. But what's interesting about that, again, is the Jets are actually now contenders to be in the playoffs as well. And I'm sure we're all shocked about that. Now, we talked about the Seahawks. And I know people say, a win is a win is a win, but I think we have to remember too, as far as who they were playing, very similar to the Eagles. That's why I think theirs, honestly, is probably worse than what the Eagles did, because here's a team, they're playing against a team that hadn't won yet. To me, this is a red flag that I think everybody needs to slow down as far as the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. You were playing against a team that hadn't won. You were down 21-0. And I love Russell Wilson. I think he's amazing. But I think that's a red flag to where I don't know if the Seahawks are truly going to go to the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're still undefeated. I still don't know how that's happening. I really did have the Bills, Sed's laughing. I did have the Bills beating them. I see them as 9-0. I think their schedule is weak. I think they're going to run up against some folks, and especially when they play Denver, I think that's a wrap. I'm just saying that. Everybody's talking about Peyton Manning and his ankles. I would still take Peyton Manning with 2 bad ankles any day of the week. So that's just me. Now, Adrian Peterson had his 40th career 100-yard game for the first time in September, and I thought that was just awesome because it just felt like all day really wasn't doing much. So kudos to Adrian Peterson. Now, there's definitely some scary moments these past few days when it comes to NFL coaches. And, I don't know about you, but I've been watching football for a long time. And I know there was a time, especially when you think of coaches and stress, you think of Mike Ditka. And there was a time watching him, especially like the 85 Bears, it looked like every time you saw him, this man was going to have a heart attack. Coaching is a stressful job. And we got to see that last night with Gary Kubiak, who's the coach for the Texans. I mean, when he collapsed, that was probably like one of the scariest things that I think a lot of us had seen. I think you can agree it was definitely scary because you just didn't know. So I applaud those stations who just put the screen to black and didn't show it because you know what? We really didn't need to see that. Especially, you think about his family could have been watching. I just know if I was like his wife or daughter, that's the last thing I would have seen because you just didn't know that maybe this is the last time we saw this man alive. So I applaud them from putting the screen to black. But it's being reported that he's still in the hospital. And he's alert, coherent, and in good spirits. They're saying it could possibly be dehydration. But you know what? I talked to a doctor earlier. I called a doctor earlier today who also watched the show. And he said what kind of troubled him is he was holding his head. So he thinks there's more to it than dehydration. But again, he wasn't sure. Obviously, he's not his doctor. But I think we just need to keep him in our prayers. Also, the Denver Broncos coach, John Fox, he's going to undergo an aortic valve replacement surgery. So he's going to miss a few weeks, but Jack Del Rio is going to be the interim coach while he's out. So between Coach Kubiak and also Coach Fox, I think we all just really need to keep him in our thoughts and prayers. And just remember, like I said, again, coaching is no joke. I mean, especially, I got to give kudos to these guys. They're coaching multimillionaires. I mean, that alone kind of, I'm sure, adds to the stress. So wishing them both a speedy recovery. Now, the Bills, the QB for the Bills, EJ Manuel, he's actually been cleared to practice, and hopefully he'll be returning soon, especially after what we saw this weekend. They definitely need EJ Manuel. Now, I wanted to touch on another story that really broke last week. I'm sure you all have heard about it now because it just seems like now more and more is coming out and it's just even more disturbing than the last time. The Miami Dolphins tackle Jonathan Martin, as you all know, he left last week. He was considered AWOL. He left practice. So, that was the first part of the story, right? And then we find out there was some sort of prank that happened in the players' facility, kind of like they were all eating lunch, and everybody said he had some sort of meltdown and he left. But we're finding out more and more, and actually it's very, very disturbing. And what started out as rookie hazing has now become, as far as this man was being bullied, okay? Martin has since then filed a misconduct complaint stating that members of the offensive line have been verbally harassing him, and the ringleader is a guy by the name of Richie Incognito. And isn't that like the worst name for a bully? Seriously, Richie Incognito. Okay. But he bullied him via text message and emails. We're finding out things that they were making some of these guys, not only Martin, but other rookies, pay for like $15,000 trips, or they'd have like a $30,000 dinner. But what's even more disturbing about what Richie Incognito was doing is he was sending just racially charged text messages. He was calling him, "You're a half N-word." I'll leave it at that. Saying things like he would kill his family and stuff like that. So he's actually been suspended indefinitely. And to tell you a little bit more about this guy, real charmer, Richie Incognito, at one point he was voted the second dirtiest player in the NFL. He had issues in Nebraska where he went to school, and he had to leave the Rams. There was some sort of altercation or something that happened. So this is a guy that was already on other people's radars as far as not being, a class act, so to speak. And then what's sad about that, he was also considered a leader on the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are like, really? This happened? The organization all of a sudden is totally clueless. They've been trying to CYA. And if you don't know what CYA, let's just say it's cover your behind. They've been doing that, sending out multiple, things through the media saying, we didn't know this was going on. At one point, we had no idea this was going on. And then it was, well, we're going to investigate. To the next thing you know, it's, well, we're doing what we can to prevent this. So I'm sure they saw as the first step, okay, we're going to suspend him. But see, this is my question to Coach Philbin. Who's actually running the team? Where are the adults, so to speak, to make sure something like this doesn't happen? Now, I think, first of all, we can all agree, especially of those who love the game, that we've witnessed rookie hazing. Like, I watch a lot of Hard Knocks, so I've seen and have heard from players. There's some players here that I've talked to, former players from the NFL Players Association here in Atlanta. A lot of the rookie hazing is like you have to bring donuts, or you might have to buy a meal for a couple guys. You might have to carry their shoulder pads and things like that. And some of the guys even might have to sing in front of the team. And, that seems harmless. So I think we can all agree, okay, fine, that's in fun, that's hazing, and pretty much everybody has to go through it. But then you cross over to the bullying aspect of it, where nobody should be terrorized. And I think that's the part that's more disturbing. And I'll be honest with you, what really pissed me off today, there's actually some male commentators, because, I watch different shows, different sports shows like you all, because that's the part of, loving sports. You all watch different shows, hopefully like you guys are watching mine. And some of the guys were like saying, Martin is soft and, he's acting like a punk and he needs to toughen up. And, a coach out there who is a respected coach, he even made the comment, if I was Martin, I would have just kicked his beep. Okay, fine. In theory, that all sounds great. But I think what they're missing the point is this is more than just boys will be boys. Okay. This is mentally terrorizing somebody. And I don't care who you are. First of all, Martin doesn't have to go through it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a job for him. His workplace environment, he needs to feel safe. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody wants to go to work. I don't care if it's the NFL. I don't care if it's Xerox. I don't care where you're working. Nobody wants to go to work and have somebody constantly harassing them, teasing them. And, it's one thing, we've seen this with kids. I mean, we've seen kids actually commit suicide over this. But the one thing I think the unknown that people don't talk about is that bullying in the workplace, where you have adults who never grew out of it as a kid who still think it's funny, and it's not funny. And at the end of the day, Martin just doesn't have to deal with it. And the NFL and the coaches on the team, somebody should have stepped in, or hell, another teammate should have stepped in and just been like, you know what? This is wrong. Let's stop. So if this man did suffer some sort of breakdown or whatever, that's on the Miami Dolphins. So yeah, that's great. Richie is out of there, but you can't tell me that Richie Incognito is the only person that was doing that. I'm sure it's going to come out later. There was a lot of other guys, and I'm sure a lot of guys have gone through this, and especially if you've played since you were little, high school and college. And again, the fun hazing, I get that, but the bullying, that piece is just totally ridiculous. So Jonathan Martin, I applaud you for stepping up and saying, I'm not going to go and put up with this crap. And the Miami Dolphins, you're in hot water. And I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Philbin probably gets even fired from this, because the last thing you need is a coach who doesn't have the leadership and he can't take control of his team. So anywho, that's my 2 cents on it, but I'd love to hear from you what you think about this story, because it's growing, and I'm sure over the next few days we're going to find out more. And remember, the hashtag is SheSaidSports. So let's transition now to some college football highlights. Just got a few things. Florida State gave it to Miami 41-14. So big ups, BG. Your team won, the Noles. Georgia beat Florida in Florida. Pretty much saw that happening. Florida really hasn't been anything in a while. My team, don't even get me started. Michigan lost to Michigan State 29-6. I don't know if I was talking to some folks on Twitter. I don't know if it's the offensive coordinators or even the head coach. And I really don't want to have to go through the process of trying to find a new head coach. But Michigan, seriously, I mean, I'm over it. I'm getting over it. So do something. That's all I ask. And at this point, honestly, I'm scared about when Michigan plays Ohio State. Yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm terrified. So, but we'll see what happens. Northern Illinois killed Massachusetts 63-19. I have to give them a shout out because one of my best friends, her husband went to NIU. So there you go, Steve. I'm talking about your little funky school, blah, blah, blah. But not thrilled about it. And Clemson gave it to Virginia 59-10. So those are some college football highlights. Now in NBA news, I don't know if you guys saw, and this just happened a few days ago, but I had to bring it up because it was so cool. I got to watch the press conference, but Allen Iverson officially retired AI. And, you know, it was such a good press conference. I mean, this man is just so open and honest. You know, he got a little tearful. I felt I got a little misty, and he was there with his kids. But, you know, it's just you forget how good he was. And then you see him and you remember this is a young guy. I mean, he could still be playing. So big ups to AI. Practice. We talking about practice? The 76ers are 3-0. I don't know how that happened because we were told they had the worst roster in the NBA, but they've beaten Miami and Chicago. Again, I realize, folks, they have 9,000 more games to play. But you got to give a shout out to the 76ers. Now, the Yankees shortstop, Derek Jeter, he has signed a $12 million contract for 1 year. Yes, you heard me. $12 million for 1 year. All I need to know or want to know is who's his agent. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right. So who likes McDonald's? You know, those magical golden arches. I think a lot of us have been eating French fries since we were like 2 years old. Well, back in 2008, during the Beijing Olympics, the Jamaican sprinter that we all love, Usain Bolt, he didn't care for the food, so he decided to go to McDonald's while he was in China. Well, he writes because he has a memoir coming out called Faster Than Lightning, and he said, and I quote, "At first I ate a box of 20 for lunch, then another for dinner, and then the next day I had 2 boxes for breakfast, 1 for lunch, and then another couple in the evening. I even grabbed some fries and an apple pie to go with it." So basically, Bolt was eating 100, approximately 100 nuggets a day. That's about 4,700 calories a day. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not a big fan of some chicken nuggets. I don't know. Sed, do you like nuggets? Okay, Sed's like, no. But I could throw down some French fries. That's all I'm saying. You might have to put my cardiologist on standby, but I definitely could throw down some French fries. And I'm with him because I'm not really big into Chinese food. So, yeah, I'd have been all up at McDonald's, too. All right, so some good news that just came out. The shooter who killed Redskins player Sean Taylor back in 2007, he's actually been found guilty of second-degree murder. This is 23-year-old Eric Rivera. He's one of the 4 who broke into his Miami home, and Rivera could actually get up to life in prison. So, yay, the justice system working, and I'm sure this is good news for Sean Taylor's family. So again, folks, you are listening and watching That's What She Said Sports Talk Her Way. I'm your sports chick, Nicole Monique, flying solo today. It's now time for our Beast and Busters.
Bust.
B still here in spirit. So want to give a beast to the World Series champs, the Boston Red Sox, because some of them shaved off their beards for charity. It was called the Shave Off. It occurred at Gillette's World Headquarters, and the Boston company donated $100,000 to the One Fund, and this is for assisting victims of the April 15th bombings in Boston. So, you know, kudos to the Boston Red Sox. I think that is really cool. And then next, you want to give a big beast to the New York City Marathon winners, both from Kenya, Geoffrey Mute, who finished in 2 hours and 8 minutes, and Priska Jeptu, who finished in 2 hours and 25 minutes. And I just want to know, why is it we never go over and train in Kenya? Just kind of put it out there. If I ever run a marathon, I'm going straight to Kenya. I'm just saying, okay? Think about it. So now for our buster. Have to give it to wide receiver Jaguar Justin Blackmon. He's been suspended indefinitely without pay, okay, for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy yet again. And let's face it, either way, Justin, it wasn't looking good for you. You could have either played the remainder of the 8 games with the Jaguars or you're suspended. So, but hopefully this time you've learned a lesson, and hearing that he's actually going to rehab. So kudos to you. Hope you get some help. But come on, dude, you're 23 years old. Let's do better. All right. As always, folks, you are watching and listening to That's What She Said Sports Talk Her Way. I am your sports chick, Nicole Monique. And remember, in the Atlanta area, if you are in the counties Gwinnett, Rockdale, Walton, Northeast Cobb, or Cherokee, you can find us on Channel 25. If not, don't fret, stop crying. you can always catch us on our YouTube channel. And then for those listening to our podcast, you are listening on Podbean and iTunes. And remember, you can catch that weekly too. And please follow us on Twitter. I'm at TWSS Sports. And be sure to like us on Facebook. We're actually over 3,000 people on Facebook. Yay. Thank you so much. And as always, also Google+. And you can always reach out to us at hashtag #SheSaidSports. Now, before we leave, I talked about on the last show, as far as we're going to have some cool giveaways. So I want to show those to you. We have a new t-shirt. Voila. I'm wearing it. But I want to show you. It is black and pink. And just so you know, real men do wear pink. So don't get it twisted. But this is our new t-shirt. It's pretty cool with the logo on the front. And watch this. Bam! You have the website on the back. Is that not cool or not? You're going to be a walking billboard. But we also have these really cool drawstring bags. I feel like a combination between Vanna White and what's another co-host? I feel like I'm on QVC right now. But we have these really cool drawstring bags that are pink with the black. So this is what you do. You have to follow us on either Facebook or Twitter. But the key is you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you have to create an account so that we can see that you subscribed. Now, once you've done that, then you need to go to our website, twssports.com, go to contact, let us know your name and your address, and let us know if you want either, voila, the pink drawstring bag, notice the lovely zipper with the black logo, or again, the black t-shirt with the pink logo and the website on the back, and of course, let us know your size. So yet, again, remember, follow us on either Facebook or Twitter. Now, if you do all of them, you are amazing. We love you. But some people I know don't do Facebook, or some people say, well, I don't do Twitter. So either or, follow us on either Facebook or Twitter. But the key is, guys, you have to follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're really trying hard to grow our subscribers on YouTube. My goal is to have 100 by the end of the year. So help me out here. Once you do that, create an account. Let us know so we can see you as a subscriber. Then, easy enough, go to our website, twssports.com, go to the contact tab, send us your name, your address, and if you wanted the t-shirt, let us know again what size. And we're going to give away 3 of these this week. So the first 3 that I get, it's yours. And again, it's either the bag or the t-shirt. So let us know. So see, we have some good stuff, and we have some other stuff coming your way as well. But thank you so much for watching the show, like I said, on either Comcast or YouTube or just our podcast. Really, really appreciate it. I had somebody one time, they were like, wow, you thank people a lot. But when you're following your dream and your passion and you're doing something that you love, you really appreciate those who take the time to want to listen to you. I know you could listen to anybody else, but thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm Nicole Monique, your sports chick. This is That's What She Said Sports. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one, folks.